Hello, I'm Suzanne Figueroa. I'm a born U.S. citizen. My children are born U.S. citizens. But if you think that the mass deportation are not going to affect millions of American families just like mine, think again. For those of you who have said, President Trump or Holman aren't talking about people like my husband, they're talking about the quote-unquote criminals. I really think you should have another look at exactly what these people are saying. I am not getting my sources from fake news or hearsay. This is what's coming from them. Listen carefully.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
So I'm thinking about this. Tom Holman says families can be deported together. I'm a U.S. citizen, born and raised. My children are U.S. citizens, born and raised. But if I want my family to stay together, then as a U.S. citizen and my children as U.S. citizens can be deported together. Essentially, I'm understanding that I'm going to be deported from my country of birth so that I can stay with my family.
Why should a child who is an American citizen have to pack up and move to a country that they don't know?
Because their parent obviously entered the country illegally, had a child knowing he was in the country illegally, so he created that crisis.
Okay, so just so we're clearly understanding this, all of my fellow mixed status families, our crime and reason for family deportation together was falling in love with someone who was not born a U.S. citizen and having children with them. So we created our crisis, okay? And because they're not U.S. citizens, even though we are, we can be deported with them. For those of you who've been saying that, oh, I'm overreacting, that they're not coming after people like my husband or my family, this is exactly what they're telling us that they're gonna do. He's not saying he's only coming for the quote-unquote criminals. Mr. Holman has quoted our federal statutes. And I really think you should listen to what he is saying exactly.
If I'm in charge of this, my priorities are public safety threats and national security threats first.
First implies others follow, though, right?
Absolutely.
So game that out for me. What's the scenario?
It's not okay to enter a country illegally, which is a crime. That's what drives illegal immigration.
So just so we're clear, anyone thinking that this is not going to affect, oh, they're just coming for the criminals. I'm not an attorney, but I can read. And they have stated it multiple times. And one of the quotes that Mr. Holman loves to quote is 8 USC 1325. Now let me read that to you. Mind you, I'm finding this underneath the U.S. Department of Justice Criminal Resource Manual. Take note, Criminal Resource Manual 1911.8.USC.1325 Unlawful entry, failure to depart, fleeing immigration checkpoints, marriage fraud, and commercial enterprise fraud. Section 1325 sets forth criminal offenses relating to 1. Improper entry into the United States by an alien, 2. Entry into a marriage for the purposes of evading immigration laws, and 3. Establishing a commercial enterprise for the purpose of evading immigration laws. The Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigration Responsibility Act amended 8 U.S.C. 1325 to provide that an alien apprehended while entering or attempting to enter the United States at a time or place other than is designated by immigration officers shall be subject to civil penalty. Again, they're going after the criminals. 8 U.S.C. 1325 sets forth criminal offenses relating to improper entry into the United States. So what does that mean? We're not talking that they're going after the murderers or the rapists or what everybody wants to think is criminal. Per Holman, you come into the U.S. unauthorized, it is a crime. And that is who they're going after. So now you're going to say to me, well, Suzanne, why don't you just get your husband legal status here? It should be simple, right? Well, we've been in the process of that. I got his I-301 approved, which is my petition for an alien relative. That took, I want to say, 16 months before it got approved. And even though that is still approved, it's not a visa. It does not grant him legal authority to be here in the United States, which means my husband is still here undocumented. It's another process that I have to go through that is essentially me petitioning a waiver for my husband or my husband petitioning a waiver. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so even some of this is still mind-blowing to me. But from my understanding is I can only petition the waiver independently, so I can't get his visa at the same time. Otherwise, he'll have to go back to Mexico to get his visa, and once he crosses back to Mexico, he'll have a 10-year bar put on him that he cannot return. So I'm living with the potential separation from my lawful husband for 10 years. If he gets the pardon, well, that can lift the ban. So when he goes back to Mexico and solicits the visa, he'll only be there for the time it takes them to process the visa, which times for visa processing have gone up due to the onslaught of immigration. And this particular waiver, from the times I'm looking at, can take up to 44 months. 44 months before I can even petition for his visa, or he can petition for his visa. Okay? So that's like 4 years. He'll be here another 4 years without proper documentation, meaning that he can still be placed in deportation processes. This is our immigration system. It is broken. It needs to be fixed. Problem is no one wants to do what is needed. Please share this video to help get the truth out to other mixed status American families just like mine. Thank you.